Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today we'll be working on a 5th gen 2021 Toyota 4Runner. We'll be installing a pair of Lasfit ditch lights and going over the unpackaging of them, complete install with the wiring harness, wiring the switch up inside, and then later on we'll be doing a test drive at night with the brand that I'll be comparing them to, Oxbeam, with these at night, so you'll get a good comparison of what a cheaper brand looks like with the same output as the Lasfit ditch lights. And by the time you're done, you should hopefully be able to install these pretty easily by yourself. You'll have all the wiring, everything you need to know, tools you'll need to install the lights. So let's get to it, get the unboxing started, and show you guys what we're working with. All right, let's get to it. The unboxing of these lights. Packaging's really nice. The lights look pretty good. They are pretty heavyweight compared to my other ones. The heat sinks in the back are pretty nice. They're solid. Feels like solid cast aluminum. I know they have a thick lens. I've seen them before. I know you can get interchangeable lenses for these, which is very nice. Comes with a nice pigtail on the end. Overall, they look really good. And of course, they come with the brackets that mount to the ditch lights that go on to the actual light right here. And in here is all of the mounting hardware that you'll need. And since I opened this earlier, it does come with an install instructions. I don't know where I set them right now, but it's pretty straightforward for the install, and I'll be going over it in the video. Now, the ditch light brackets that came with, packaged nicely. The other ones I had just came literally in a plastic bag. So these come in a cardboard box wrapped in styrofoam, much nicer. Nothing too different about these. They have some Lasfit symbols cut out of them. Lightweight, pretty heavy duty. You're not going to bend them or break them. So standard ditch light mount, good quality. Has an extra adjustment that a lot of these don't right here, just to slide the light back and forth. Most of them have this adjustment right here where they attach to the hood, where you can slide the light back and forward a little bit to get some clearance against the windshield. So a quick comparison to the ones I have or had existing that I removed. The Oxbeam, they have 6 LEDs. Both these lights are that I ordered. This Oxbeam and the Lasfit are both flood beam patterns, so they're not going to project really far like a driving beam, and they're not going to be spot beams where they're focused on one certain area. They spread out, but not real far. They're good for driving slow, rock crawling at night. If you're driving back road somewhere, driving slow, or driving trails, you know, on your property when you hunt and you need extra auxiliary lights, the floodlights are perfect for these. They give you the great amount of light, but they're not for driving at high speed, so just keep that in mind when I do the test. Like I said, these are both flood beam patterns, so it's a fair comparison with both of them. Like I said, you can see right here the Oxbeam has 6 LEDs. These have 4. And what I had to do with these also was silicone around on the Oxbeam because they would get water condensation inside there. And you can hear the difference on that lens too. That's like a really thin polycarbonate compared to this one. It's probably 4 times thicker than the Oxbeam. It almost sounds like glass, but it's also, I believe, a polycarbonate, but it's just a thicker, higher quality one. These have a really, I don't like how these adjust. Honestly, I never have. This bolt loosens right here, and you slide back and forth on the light, and then You can also slide it up and down. It's just really hard to adjust these lights. I've had them for a while, and it's always been a complaint of mine, is it's just really hard to adjust them. They didn't come with pigtails from the factory for these aux beam, so I installed these right here on myself. Aux beam comes with these pigtails already. They're really nice, high quality, waterproof connections, and I didn't show them in the box, but you will get the other end of this pigtail from Lasfit. So all you got to do is wire it into your wiring harness, which I'll show y'all later on as well. Now the ditch light brackets, they're basically the same. Like, you can lay them over each other. They have the same angles. They're pretty much the exact same measurements. This is a Cali raise that I had originally. The only difference is the Cali rays are slightly thicker if you look at them. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Now, it doesn't seem to make, you can't bend either one of them, so it doesn't seem to really matter much as far as strength goes. Now, the Cali rays doesn't have this this adjustment right here. Other than that, they're pretty much the same brackets. They're both going to work perfectly fine, I'm sure. So we'll get them installed, and then I'll show you how to install these. Okay, to install these brackets and lights, you'll need a few tools. One, you want a 14mm wrench. You want a 12mm socket if you have it, or you can use a 12mm wrench as well. And you'll want a 5mm Allen head socket or Allen head keys, and some zip ties. Okay, before you install these, the first thing you want to do is make sure you have the correct bracket for the correct side of the vehicle that you're going to be installing it on. This is the driver's side. Basically, you want to make sure when you install these that this L shape is pointing out away from the side, away from the middle of the car. So this points out towards the road, and that will be the correct side for you to install it on. Okay, first things first, you do not want to take both these bolts out at the same time. Your hood will fall, you'll get misaligned when you try to close it, you'll probably chip your paint, and it'll be a big pain to get your hood back on and realign correctly. So to install your bracket, the first thing you'll do is completely take your top bolt off and leave your bottom bolt in. Now with that out, get your bracket, go up under the hood, put the bolt through the bracket, but snug this bolt down pretty tight. Hold on to your bracket because it will turn when you're tightening this bolt or loosening it, and it'll scratch the back of your paint back here on your hood if you're not careful. So it's tightened. You should still be able to slide it. So with that tightened, you want to get this bottom bolt and take it completely out. Your hood should not move while this is going on. Now with the bolt out, slide this carefully into place. Put your bolt back in, and now tighten both nuts back down nice and snug, and that's it. You're good to go. Your bracket's installed. We're ready to move on. So your passenger side is going to be the exact same thing, with the exception of you have your washer fluid, your washer nozzle line in the way. It clips into this bracket right there. Take it out. You can also just pull the bracket out of the way completely, and just move it out of the way. Other than that, it's going to be the exact same thing. So to install these lights is really easy, really straightforward. Slightly easier with two people. You can do it by yourself. Pretty easy. These brackets that they give you, the curve goes forward to the front of the vehicle. So you just put the bolt in here, slide it through. It's your normal washer, your lock washer. Your lock washer goes to the bottom. Put your nut in the bottom. Just turn it until it's snug on there, hand tight. You don't want to tighten it yet because you're going to want to adjust these out later on. Get your Allen head, flat washer, lock washer. Put those on the Allen head. Put your light on. This serrated washer will go between the lights and the this actual bracket right here. So what I did to make it somewhat easier is I just put that washer on right there. Hopefully you can see it. And then put the light in here because you got some wiggle room in there. I'm gonna do the same thing with the other side. Just slip that washer in there. Okay, and as you can see here, these lights don't hit my windshield wipers when I have the hood all the way open either. So this was the side that had the issue with those other lights. The other side was fine, so we're good to go there. So Lasfit does have their own wiring harness that you can order online. Since I had these other lights already, I had a harness that I had existing. I believe what I did, I just used a self-tapping screw and mounted mine right here. Then I just ran the power cable on the 4Runner. You can pop this thing off like that. And I just tapped into right there. And then also right here to the ground. You can also tap into the main ground right here, which I did for some other lights that I have. I ran the wire along the firewall all the way down here, as you can see, and then I brought it up right here up to the lights. These pigtails they supply are a little bit longer, so I think I'm gonna be able to run these down and have the wiring down here below, which I kind of wanted before, but my old pigtails were too short. So that's how I ran it to the outside. It's pretty simple. If you can see right here, I ran the inside. So right there, there's a grommet that just plugs up a hole. What I did was just cut a small hole into that and then used a fishing wire to snake this line through there, through the firewall. Some people put it right down here through this main grommet that goes to the firewall. You can do that too. You just got to cut a small hole through there and get a fish tape and fish it through there as well. Then I just use this existing wiring clamp that Toyota has there to hold my wiring harness in place right there. Okay, on the inside, it's a little bit more difficult. It can be. Once you get the wire through that grommet, through the firewall, it's basic. I got one of these switches. You can order them at various places, but they fit right in to the factory holes for a lot of 4Runners, Toyotas. There's several areas where you can pop these blinks out and put this switch in. On here, it's pretty simple. You just pull this bracket, this panel forward. I got several of these. This isn't the exact one that I use, but use one of these trim pullers so that way you don't get a screwdriver in there and start prying stuff and mess up your interior. But you'll pry this in here if you can't. It's not difficult. So just pull this forward. This comes down. So this slot right here, that's my switch, goes right here. This switch comes with this actual green plug right here that you wire into your harness. As you can see, I kind of zip tied my harness up already. Tape it up, zip tie it so it doesn't get in the way. It's pretty easy. It takes a little bit of time, but overall, anybody can do it. The hardest part of that wiring is definitely going to be getting underneath the dash and pulling that harness, the wiring harness through and getting it done. It takes a little bit of time, just be patient. Okay, Lasfit did a solid here, including these pigtails that plugged right into the ditch lights already. I was afraid I was going to have to cut these pigtails in the lights and wire them up, which I didn't want to because that's a really nice looking connection. So all I got to do now basically is just connect this existing wiring, this existing pigtail into my existing wiring. It should only take a few minutes. Like I said, before you do electrical work on your car, unbolt the electrical cable, positive cable from your battery, so that way you don't short something out or get shocked. So on the 4Runner, it's just a 10mm bolt right there, nut. Just loosen it, shake it loose a little bit, pull it off, and then if you have a rag, some kind, just put it there to keep it from touching, shorting everything out again while you're working. Now to do this, if you don't solder it, what you're going to need is just a few basic things. Wire crimper, wire stripper, and a butt connector crimper. Now since this has thicker insulation on it and it came really short, either a knife or a good insulation stripper, wire stripper. I use this one. It works great. It stays really sharp. Obviously you'll need butt connectors. Whichever size wire that you're using, you'll need the correct size. Some dielectric grease to put inside these butt connectors to help fight off corrosion. And then some heat shrink. Or if you don't have heat shrink and you just want electrical tape, that works as well. I like to do a combination of heat shrink and electrical tape just for that extra protection on the wiring. Alright, so what you want to do is strip a small piece of this insulation off the wire. Not too much, maybe, was that maybe 1/4 of an inch? On each one. Once you have that done, what I like to do is get your dielectric grease. Basically fill up this this butt connector with grease. Once you get enough, I don't know if you can see that, once you get enough in there, once it's kind of coming out the top, you don't want to overfill it, because when you crimp it, it kind of shoots out and gets everywhere. You just want enough to where it's going to sit in there and help fight off any corrosion that you might get from this from moisture. And then just crimp it. Give it a slight tug to make sure that it's working, that it's on there good, and then you should be good to go on that one. Do the same thing for the next wire. Okay, for these existing wires, I'm just going to cut the connectors off. I'm going to do the same thing here. Just strip these out 1/4 of an inch. Alright, now that that's on there, before I crimp the pigtail on, I get my heat shrink and I put it on here. Try to slide it as far away from here as I can so it doesn't fall off. Now I get my pigtail. Again, it's slightly easier if you got someone helping you, but you can do it by yourself. What I'll do now is slide this heat shrink over the butt connectors. Now, to shrink it down, as the name says, you need heat. I don't like to use a lighter, although some people do. Much rather use a heat gun. It's a little bit safer, I feel. I just heat up the heat shrink. The heat shrink's slightly too big, but it had to be a little bit bigger to fit over these butt connectors. So like I said, I'm going to electrical tape it as well and kind of double insulate it that way. Alright, that's it. Just electrical tape the whole thing. It's kind of double insulated now. Now I'll come back through here and zip tie this here in a minute. So the first thing you can do here, so this wire doesn't just hang everywhere, you can zip tie it right here to this bracket. Now it's still free to move this wire, as you can see, but it keeps this wire from getting caught up in a bunch of other stuff. Just come through and cut this little piece off. So installing the pigtail for the passenger side is exactly the same as the driver's side. I'm not going to show it just because it's the same process, but it is installed. I zip tied the extra wiring loom, wiring harness right there. So we're good to go. Plug and play. Alright y'all, so that's it for the install. Next thing we'll be doing is going out and comparing the two lights, the aux beam and then the Lasfit ditch lights, to see what the difference is. So I'm excited to see it. Just waiting for it to get dark out here, and then we'll run out there and start doing some driving. Okay, everybody, that's it. That's the unboxing, the overview of the lights, the wiring and install of the brackets and the lights, and then the comparison between Oxbeam and Lasfit ditch lights. So if you go back and look at the video, there, in my eyes, was a huge difference between the two brands. Hands down, Lasfit had a higher output, higher brightness. No comparison whatsoever. Another note I wanted to make was when I did the comparison, I had the lights facing more towards the front of the vehicle. I didn't have them angled out towards the left and right like you normally would ditch lights if you're going to be using them. So some of the output was lost on the hood of the vehicle. If you go back and look at the video, if you angle those lights out, you're going to get even more output on the ground than what I showed in the video. I did the angle straight forward because I wanted to make sure the angles are fair in comparison. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the video. Angle them out, you're going to get way more output. But hands down, Lasfit, better quality, better lights, not that much money. If you need them for reverse lights, extra lighting up on your rack up top, or just plain old ditch lights, I'd highly recommend getting these. So thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you look at these seriously if you're considering your own lights, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.